After James uploaded his dramatic response video, Jeffree addressed it on his Snapchat story. Welcome to the final part of this series on the Tati and James Charles situation. Please do not send any hate to anyone mentioned in this series. These videos are simply meant to report on the news and give insight on the situation. Also, please wait until the end of this video to give your full opinion on what went down. Now let's get into the story. He said the video was manipulative, weird, and calculated, and James painted him in a way that wasn't true.
When lies are told about you, when things are misconstrued, it's not okay.
Jeffree wanted to get his side out to the public.
I didn't want to have to upload a video. I didn't want this to continue, but when someone comes for you and lies on your name, it's unacceptable. There was so many lies in his video. A lot of people are, what do we believe? You're gonna know what to believe when I really show you the facts.
He also tweeted, "Before you believe anything that was said today, remember there are always two sides to every story. Everyone keeps asking me for my receipts. I have so much to say and some really sad, disgusting things to show you guys. James Charles tried to mass manipulate you all today. When I show you the proof and why I tweeted that tweet about him, you will all finally understand." But later, Jeffree deleted the second tweet. Then, on May 19th, Jeffree uploaded a video titled "Never Doing This Again." However, Jeffree didn't spill the tea on James. He said he was in a dark place when he first spoke about James's video.
For hours yesterday, it took me back to the old Jeffree, and I was in a very dark place. I sat there for hours and it started to get really dark in my head. And what I mean by that is that you guys know me for always sticking up for what I believe in. You know that I'm brutally honest on my channel.
Jeffree confirmed he sent James the text messages and said he didn't hate James and they had a real connection.
I loved and cared about him, and I definitely think I mishandled our friendship. But I want to let you guys know that there is no actual hate in this heart.
After he posted the story and the tweets, he said he did a lot of self-reflection after realizing his power as an influencer.
I don't want to play the games anymore. I sat there yesterday and I started to get really angry. I was gonna pull voice memos. I was gonna pull old text messages from other people that don't want to be involved. And thank God I'm in the headspace that I am today because I stopped those feelings. I let them all subside, and I understand that now that isn't okay. I am not going to fuel this fire bigger so everyone can get more entertainment, because behind the scenes, this isn't funny. This is our real lives, and I inserted myself into something publicly that I shouldn't have.
After the Seattle trip, Jeffree said he and Nate felt very uncomfortable with some of the things that happened, but he should have handled things with James differently.
What I should have done is vented all my feelings to James. And I know that Tati got to do that. She had private conversations with him. I didn't do that. I should have been mature enough to say, hey, I love and care about you. I've heard X, Y, and Z about you. I've seen some things I didn't like. Here's my feelings. But guess what? I didn't. And that was my first mistake.
He also provided context for his text messages to James.
I want to let you guys know that there is a big piece of the story that I don't think a lot of people know, and that's that behind the scenes, there were people in my head. There were people telling me a lot of stuff, and I don't mean my own friends. I mean people that had known James. They were being very, I don't know the right word, but they were telling me things that was making me feel a whole other way.
Jeffree said he regretted his tweets about James.
There's a lot of questions about my tweets, and I want to say that I regret them. I don't regret much in my life, but I regret hitting the send button because they were bigger and louder than I ever imagined. And it made things worse when I could have handled things privately. And that is something that I'm working on.
And he apologized to James's brother, Ian.
So Ian, I just want to let you know I am so sorry for ever sending that tweet. If I could take it back, I would. And I did not understand what I was doing in that moment. I was fueled by sadness, by anger. I felt like I was being let down by someone, and I hit send. And I knew it was going to be hurtful to James, and I didn't really think about how you would feel, and I am so sorry.
He also apologized to his audience.
I also owe an apology to you guys. I owe an apology to my audience for bringing something public and for inserting myself in someone else's beef, drama, situation, whatever you want to call it. I should have kept my mouth shut, and I didn't. So I want you guys to learn from me, because you know I'm the first person to apologize and own up to my mistakes.
Jeffree said he wasn't going to insert himself into drama anymore, and he was going on a social media break.
I'm going to take a few days off and just turn off my phone. I think a lot of us are on our phones too much. Business and life just takes over, and you get way too caught up in the mess, and I'm done getting caught up.
Moving forward, he said he wanted to handle everything privately.
There's gonna be more conversations, but for me, I'm now ready to deal with this privately. And I know that's shocking because I've made things so publicly and it has just hurt too many people.
When the video was up, Shane Dawson tweeted, "Reflective Jeffree is my favorite Jeffree." After Jeffree uploaded his video, Tati Unlisted by Sister. Anyone with the link can still access it, but you can't see it on her channel page. She later deleted both By Sister and Why I Did It. And Tati posted a message on Twitter. "I have been in communication with James Charles through an intermediary for the last week, and we believe that it is in the best interest of our community, our viewers, and our own mental health to put this matter to a rest. For that reason, I will not be making any further public comments, and I hope and pray that no one else will make any more hurtful statements on my behalf. In my original video, I felt the need to publicly break up with James with a warning call loud enough for him to hear. I was attempting to explain my upset and concerns so that everyone would understand my position and end the speculation that it was all over vitamins. Over the last 8 years, I built my career based on honesty, integrity, and trying my best to do what I thought was right. The toxicity and chaos that ensued over the last 10 days was absolutely not my goal, as it was a fight that I was almost certain to lose. Although I do not regret raising my concerns, I completely regret the way I went about saying them. I could have and should have found a better way. Even in this moment, I still have so many things I'd like to clear up. However, the continued call for receipts is nothing more than a call for never-ending bloodshed. As such, I'm setting aside my overwhelming need to be understood and will continue my conversations with everyone in private. I hope that our community is somehow strengthened from all of this madness and that we will all strive to hold ourselves and each other to a higher standard. To my audience, I need you to know that I'm blessed to have your support and love making videos for you guys. I'm truly sorry for all of the hate this brought to our doorstep. I love you and look forward to returning to my regular content soon." James Charles responded to both of their statements. "Thank you, Jeffree Star and Tati, for your sentiments. I'm on board to move on, will not speak about this further, but do hope to speak in the future when we're all ready. This week was awful for all of us, and I ask that the community focuses on positivity moving forward." A lot of people were upset with Tati. "Tati, over the last 8 years, I built my career based on honesty, integrity, and trying my best to do what I thought was right. This wasn't any of that, sis. Do better." What angers me the most is Tati never straight up apologized to James for her reckless action of using her platform to cause such horrible actions on James. No matter how you see the issue, and no matter her intentions, her actions were reckless and cruel, especially for someone who was this experienced in the industry and this old. Other people thought both Tati and Jeffree were being shady. I feel super annoyed for believing Tati without receipts. I think because she has never really been involved in drama, we all thought she was telling the truth. Plus, with her close relationship with James, it's clear now that Tati and Jeffree have very bad intentions, especially with that suspected text Jeffree sent James before the whole thing. "You've been chatting about me." It definitely feels like a smear job in my opinion. James Charles is a danger to society. Everything Tati said was true. Let's cancel him. Everyone, got any actual proof? Jeffree Star, I actually realized I don't like drama, guys. Let's just spread love. What the Tati deleted her exposing James video now that people realize she manipulated and lied to 50 million over vitamins. I have to laugh. #bye sister. Some people made fun of how Tati, James, and Jeffree handled things. James Charles, I was just in a dark place. Jeffree Star, my mind was in a dark place. Tati, I'm so sorry, this all came from a really dark place. Shut up, you're all millionaires, just go buy a lamp or something. Y'all couldn't just text? A few people thought James got lawyers involved. So, James Charles threatened legal action or what? Can't see any other reason for Tati and Jeffree both surrendering. Unless James threatened to pull out some real bad on them. Sounds like James has spoken to his lawyer. Also has me pondering how active James's lawyers have been about slander, etc. I'm sure there's a financial loss associated with the release of Tati's video. Someone pointed out how no one really won in this situation. Tati claimed James lied in his response video and had receipts also. Jeffree said he has receipts and proof to back up what he said about James. This whole higher ground thing is really annoying, especially given the alleged claims against James. If they are lying, that is awful. If they are telling the truth and staying silent, that is also awful. No one wins. And another person said no one really knew anything about what happened. We're all spectators being told whatever info they want to feed us, whether any of it is true or not. PewDiePie and FaZe Banks also made videos responding to the situation. In PewDiePie's video, he admitted he didn't know the full story when he made his first video.
Clearly, I didn't understand every thing about what's going on. And yes, I brushed over some points just to save time. My point was that I don't think Tati was completely innocent and justified in making that video.
And he commented on some of Tati's points, saying she was wrong about the allegations, that companies get extra tickets for things all the time, and the Sugar Bear hair sponsorship seemed to just happen. But he still stood by the original message of his video.
And I still stand by, I think Tati should have just reached out to James to sort it out. This is what happens when you bring your personal issues to public. I don't think it's a good idea.
Both FaZe and PewDiePie spoke about Tati making money off the scandal. In FaZe's video, he said she promoted Halo Beauty, knowing people would buy it.
What I do have a huge issue with is the fact that this woman knowingly promoted. Listen, I know how this works. Everybody who's on my side of this social media stuff knows how this works. This woman knew 100% what she was doing. She knew that people would sympathize with her. She knew that people would feel bad about him not promoting her vitamins. She knows how the internet works and how people impulse buy things.
And PewDiePie said,
Tati made this video talking about her own brand. The video has 50 million views. She probably made between 100,000 to 1 million of this video alone. And in sales of this product that she heavily promoted. It's the top link in the description and there's a card showing up to it. And she talks about it for an extensive amount of time. I don't think this was her intention, but it's pretty crazy.
On May 22nd, Ryland Adams, Shane Dawson's fiance, uploaded a video where he and Shane seemed to say there was a lot people didn't know about the situation.
I thought the Jake Paul world was scary and drama-filled. The beauty world's worse.
It is like so cutthroat and everyone seems to be very manipulative.
Yeah.
On all ends.
And on the same day, Tati tweeted, "I'm sorting through all that is heavy and dark with the purpose of finding light. The names they call me, good or bad, are theirs. Their opinion of me is not mine to absorb. What they think of me is not why I am here. For those of you that miss me, I miss you too. I will be back soon." On May 23rd, Zara Larsson addressed James's comments about her in his video. She tweeted, "My last words on this. I don't need everyone to love me for who I am, but I don't want people to hate me for something I'm not. Sorry." Attached to the tweet was a long statement. "I love social media. I really do. I love that I'm able to voice my opinions and talk to you guys. But sometimes it's hard, especially when people are coming at me with things that are far from my character. I've had a lot of people saying I'm which is as far from the truth as it could possibly be. I've always grown up believing that everyone has the right to love whatever gender, identify as whoever they want to identify as, express themselves however they like." All this is obviously related to the tweet where I quoted a tiny snippet of Tati's video where she was talking about James's behavior towards young men who don't identify as being gay. I remember my boyfriend saying, "James Charles DM'd me," and we kinda laughed because I watch his videos sometimes. I didn't think much of it. I didn't think that me tweeting he DM'd my boyfriend several times would get over 100,000 retweets and would not only affect James personally, but also fuel the fire of people thinking that of every member of the LGBTQ family. I deleted that tweet and corrected myself a day after, first of all because it was untrue. I checked and it wasn't several times, it was only once. And that message was very harmless. And to be honest, I never thought of James DMing my boyfriend as a big thing. Ever. As stated, that's how I met him, so who am I to judge? Unfortunately, that message didn't come across, because people only love to retweet drama, and I deleted that one as well, just to try to back out of it. Of course, you're allowed to flirt in a friendly way with whoever you like. I've been thinking about this non-stop, and my friends keep telling me to let it go, but I can't. Although me and James have been speaking privately and are on good terms, I'm sorry really for giving people a reason to believe that every member of the LGBTQ family behaves in that way. And I'm sorry for being a messy and making myself involved. I'm sorry for sending all of the hate that James received in his direction. I'm sorry for not thinking about the consequences. I make mistakes, but I'm never too proud to ask for forgiveness. I always try to be better, and I know this is not going to reach as many people as I wish it did. And I know that a lot of people probably still think I'm #canceled, but I hope everyone who's been following me for a while knows my true intentions and my beliefs. I'll do my best to make up for the damage I've done. And on May 24th, James posted a gag gift he received from his lawyer on his Instagram story. The story showed a candle called Boy Smells and a note that read, "Hi son, no need to bring boys to the house. This will bring their smell to you." For the caption, James wrote, "My lawyer thinks she's real clever." Later that day, James Charles posted an Instagram story announcing he's canceling the sisters' tour. He said he was the one who decided to cancel the tour.
This is 100% my decision, okay? None of the venues pulled out, none of the brands that were going to be sponsoring it pulled out, and keep in mind it was almost completely sold out, and still less than 1% of people who bought tickets contacted about refunds. So the sisters' tour is not being canceled because I was canceled. Let's make that clear.
James said the reasons he canceled the tour were both personal and professional. He said he was in a really bad place after everything went down.
I'm not better, and I'm not back either, but I am trying to move on with my life and focus on good things that make me happy and that can take my mind off of things.
James talked about needing to work on himself.
The main reason why I am deciding to pull the plug on tour is because the next few weeks and few months, honestly, I said that I wanted to take time for myself and to be with the people that love me and getting my head back in the game up to where I'm very, very inspired to keep working.
He said he needed to adjust his attitude.
In the last video, I openly talked about how there were a lot of comments saying that they felt as though my attitude was sucking recently and that I had changed or my ego was getting too big. And at first I was like, what the heck are they even talking about? But this whole situation has been a really important moment for me to self-reflect and agree, honestly, which sucks to come to terms with, but it's been very, very exciting for me because it means I get to learn and get better.
And he wanted to get his head back to where it was when he first started,
which was to do this out of a love for makeup and artistry and creating fun content and inspiring people and most importantly making people happy. And that goal is still there, 100%. It's just been clouded by some other things, and I really want to make sure that I take a little bit of time off to get my head back where it needs to be.
He said he'll still go on tour eventually, but he wanted to be in the right headspace when it happened.
Because of all this stuff, I feel that I can't deliver that best version of James right now, and that sucks, but I'm working on it. I promise.
Professionally speaking, James said the logistics of the tour wouldn't be able to come together in time.
The past few weeks have been a roller coaster, and I've been dealing with this. It's been taking up majority, literally 100% of my time. And because of that, we are now 2 weeks behind on planning and set design and rehearsals, most importantly, and goodie bags, production, and also merchandise.
He said that because he cut ties with Killer Merch, he still needed to find a production partner to make the merch for his tour. Ultimately, James said he canceled the tour because he didn't think he could deliver what he promised.
I would so much rather tell you guys straight up and cancel it and have to bite the bullet and pay a whole lot of money to have you guys show up and have it be a experience that you're gonna regret and you're gonna not remember, or will remember for the wrong reason. That is not what I want.
He said all the venues have been notified of the cancellation and everyone will be automatically refunded within 1 business week. James also said he will personally cover the restocking fees in order for the fans to get fully refunded. That seems to be the end of the situation for now. So, what's the big issue? The realities of pylon culture and online public shaming. In the immediate aftermath of Tati's Bye Sister video, a few people were concerned about James's mental health in light of all the public hatred. Chloe Morello tweeted, "Please think about August Ames. She harmed herself after receiving a barrage of hate on Twitter, and I think we should all remember this and be careful of what we say online. No matter what someone says or did, we do not want anything like that to happen again. Just be conscious of it." She expanded on her perspective in a few other tweets. "I'm not on his side at all, the opposite, but I won't be involved in online and stoop to that level. He often causes pile-on hate. I hope he learns not to now. Speak out, denounce bad behavior, like the way Tati did. I'm not saying keep quiet when someone needs to be called out, but don't pile on directly, do it consciously." And Chloe has a point. I'm not excusing or condoning James's behavior. Bad behavior can and should be called out. But at what point does a public downfall hurt more than help? Jon Ronson, a journalist and author who wrote the book So You've Been Publicly Shamed, said, "A lot of shamings on social media are coming from a righteous place, and there's a real irony. A lot of harm comes from people's belief that they are doing something good. When you reduce all human behavior to the information that can be contained within one tweet, everything becomes very black and white, which is why, on social media, everybody's like a magnificent hero or a sickening villain, and there's no room for people in between." Tati said in her follow-up video that she didn't make the video to ruin him. She made the video to try and help him change. She never wanted him to be as vilified as he had become. And James is not the only person who's experienced a huge public backlash. Victor Paul Alvarez, a Boston reporter, made a bad joke about then Speaker of the House John Boehner. Despite apologizing, he was fired and struggled to find full-time work. Adam Mark Smith was rude to a Chick-fil-A worker. A video was posted on YouTube, and he had to sell his house and move to a new city. Now, it's important to note that Victor and Adam were shamed for a single mistake, whereas James was being shamed for a pattern of behavior, which definitely changes the context of the shaming. And while no one is saying what either man did was right, we have to consider if it's bad enough for them to lose everything for the rest of their lives. That being said, there are a lot of benefits to public callouts. In December 2015, Volkswagen was exposed for installing software in their vehicles that only activated the vehicle's emissions controls when it was under laboratory emissions testing. The vehicle's nitrogen oxide output met US regulations under testing, but in real-world situations, the vehicles emitted up to 40 times more nitrogen oxide. The public backlash was fierce. Volkswagen recalled millions of cars, lost 2.5 billion euros in one financial quarter, and several governments took action against Volkswagen. But it also raised public awareness of the higher levels of pollution from vehicles running on diesel. As Jon Ronson says, "I can't see how that's not a good thing. What we have to work out is, what is the difference between actual social justice and some kind of cathartic alternative to social justice?" Ultimately, we have to remember that what we say online follows us forever. Sue Sheff, a family internet safety expert, says, "You are your online presence. Your immediate gratification to insult someone for what you may believe is activism will be attached to your digital resume forever. Short-term vindication is rarely worth the long-term ramifications." I don't think it's an over-exaggeration to say this drama is completely unprecedented. Nobody anticipated it would grow to this level, and now that we're here, we have to ask some tough questions of ourselves. What behavior is acceptable from our influencers? When does a bad decision cross the line into something much, much worse? And when we publicly shame and humiliate someone to the point where they feel unsafe or they lose everything, does that say more about their behavior or ours? In light of all the directions the story has taken, where every major player was painted as a hero or a villain depending on who spoke last, I want to leave you with a quote from Carrie Fisher's book, Wishful Drinking. "No motive is pure. No one is good or bad, but a hearty mix of both. And sometimes, life actually gives to you by taking away." What do you think about this story? Let me know in the comments down below.